Hey guys, it's Colette Riley here. It's easy when we are creating something, when we've got a goal in mind, when we want something to happen, to take things personally when we make the ask and we don't hear back, or that response isn't what we wanted it to be. So what I want to talk you through is the principles of success, and there are 5 very simple steps that when we're aware of them, it kind of makes things a lot simpler. It doesn't mean to say it's easy, because life isn't easy, but when we're aware of where we can tweak and how things work, then things definitely get or seem a lot simpler. So, 5 principles of success. Number 1, know what you want and why do you want it. Now, this might seem really obvious, but it's really where the difference is between dreams and results, because so often we think about the things that we want, but we don't actually get clear on what that is. We don't get curious as to why we want that thing. So often the things that we want aren't the things that we want, they're the things that we think we should want. So principle 1, know what you want and why, is an invitation for you to kind of just sit with that, explore that. What is it that you want? And it's okay if it's not super duper duper clear. You really need to know your direction of travel. So you're not going this way when you want to go that way. But you don't need to know exactly where you're wanting to go in that direction. And why is that important to you? And the reason why it's important is it helps us overcome obstacles and challenges when they come around, because we know why the heck we're doing what we're doing. So that's 1. Number 2, dreams into reality is do something about it. So you've got the thought, you've got the idea, we need to take action, or else we're never going to get anywhere. Number 3 is notice what happens, because not all action is equal. It doesn't matter that you've mapped out your plan and take the actions that you have planned in absolute detail. We need to slow down and notice what's actually working. What's working well, let's do more of that, and what could be better. But more than just noticing what's working well or what's not working well, it's again getting curious. What is it about that action and how I did that made that a successful action? Because when we understand what's under the hood, it makes it a lot easier to replicate it. Without that understanding, or even that curiosity to be open to learning, then it's easy to then just take that thing and do it again. But there's different variables at play, so it doesn't work out. So that takes us on to principle 4, which is tweak it. Tweak it until it works. Be flexible. So if something isn't working, then it doesn't mean to say that it doesn't work. There's so many variables at play that when we play with them and tweak them, then we're going to get different results. So again, it's that slowing down and being curious and noticing, which kind of loops back to the intention of this, that, you know, when we're going for the things that we want to go for, it's very easy to get disheartened when we get a knockback or we don't hear back from somebody. But all that is information. Information. What about the time that I reached out to that person? What about the tone of voice that I used? What about the type, the platform that I used to connect with them? Was it in person? Was it a conversation on Zoom? Was it via email? Was it a Facebook Messenger? There's so many different variables. The energy of yourself, which brings us on to principle 5, and the energy of the other person. There's so many different things. Was it the right person? So many different things that we can tweak. So just get curious about the way in which you showed up and what was happening for the other person or the other people at that time. And then that's you. You've got your playground that you can play with. So last of all, principle 5 is take action from a resourceful state of mind and body. So this is when you have built your buffer up, because we all know when our batteries are low that it's so easy and normal to take things personally. Equally, when our batteries are low, we kind of get a little bit gratey and we're more likely to show up with that not so productive tone of voice, or we can be shorter with people. Equally, when we're not resourceful, we're not really tapped in and aware of all the different opportunities and things that we can be doing. So it's very normal to get obsessed. Well, I've done this and it didn't work out, therefore I am never going to get that thing. When we're resourceful, we're in a flexible state. We are more likely to be responsive in the moment and be able to adapt in the moment. So when somebody responds in a way and you have got a feeling that the conversation is going off track, then you've got the buffer to be resilient to that. So, it's not personal anymore. And then you can adapt. And you can tap into that creative genius that's within us all for you to say something different, do something different, so you can get that conversation back on track. Or no, because back on track doesn't mean that you pursue at all costs until the end. Back on track can be just really trusting yourself to know now's not a good time. So let's just pause and we'll return to this at a later time. Or equally know early on that this isn't the right person for you to be having this conversation with. So that's the 5 principles of success. Number 1, know what you want and why. Number 2, do something about it, take action. Number 3, notice what happens. Number 4, tweak it until it works, be flexible. And number 5 is take an action from a resourceful state of mind and body. So not just when you've had a big Barney, or you're feeling really under the weather, or you're really knackered. So that is it. Life might not be easy, but it certainly is simple. So when you remember and just keep these 5 steps in mind, when you're taking action, so when you're reaching out to somebody to ask them if they're interested in working with you, if they have any opportunities that may be of interest to you, or sharing your skill set with somebody, or just having a conversation with your partner, your friends, your kids, your family about things that matter, that's your goal. You want to be able to connect with that person. You want to be able to get whatever it is that you want from that connection time, that conversation. So be flexible, know what you want, take the action, notice what's working well so you can replicate it, being curious around that. Be flexible when it doesn't work, and just make sure you've built your buffer up. Look after yourself, because when you're running on empty, that's when things kind of get a little bit rough. So the journey to creating the life and work and the impact that we really want to make, it might not be easy, but when we follow those very simple steps, it helps us stay on track. It helps us get back on track. So on that note, over and out. Do let me know what resonates with you in this one, and your experience of what you've noticed in the conversations that you've had and are having. Have you found it easier in some contexts than others to get curious about what worked well and what could be better? So how easy do you find it to do that reflection piece and notice, your tone of voice or your energy, and just tap into what's going on for that other person as well? Radical happiness is acceptance, compassion, and responsibility. So it's all kind of wrapped up in this. Over and out. Let me know how you got on. Take care.